This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for Thursday, March 3rd. Coming up, according to science, 5 ways where you can make mornings better other than morning show radio.
And don't we need that right now?
5.
We need some tips on how to make the morning better, to make the day better.
Which includes a cold shower, which has been the punchline.
I don't know that that's going to make it better.
For no sex, but it's the cold shower is actually good for you. So we'll talk about that coming up. It is the great Tone Loc's birthday today. He's 56. And they always, they will flag podcasts that use people's music. So
I know you really want to play it.
Let's do it. It's we play Tone Loc in the morning show.
We do.
That's what I'm about.
Hopefully I'm sorry.
Yeah, we feel good about it. What else going on? The Ukraine. So an amazing poll came out here in Canada where we broadcast on Canadians' views of what's going on. And the vast majority of us stand with Ukraine in the wake of the invasion. And I made the point, the vast number, because the answer is 91% found that we are in opposition to Vladimir Putin and we support the people of Ukraine. And normally not being a glass half full kind of guy, I tend to be, I don't know, maybe I'm not a full glass kind of guy. I'm wondering about the 9%. Are there 9% of people who think that Russia's got the right to do it? Or are you right that 9% is, I don't want to say because maybe it'll lead us to war?
It's probably just people who just don't want to say, they don't want to go to war. So for them to say that they back Ukraine, of course, they don't want to see people hurt, but if they say they back Ukraine, then it's taking a side and possibly leading to something they don't want to happen. Because I don't want a war to break out, but I also don't want to sit back and see these people suffer either. So where's the balance? What can we do? Something needs to be done.
And we've seen protest marches in Toronto of Russian Canadians that are supporting Ukraine. So it's not like, well, it's the Russian community. Not seeing a lot of that going on.
What did I say? 350 more Russians were arrested yesterday.
35. Was it 350?
350,
right.
Taking the number to 7,600
That's
in total. And these are Russians in Russia. These are Russians protesting in St. Petersburg. So the information may be limited possibly to rural areas in Russia, but I do believe that the population is aware of what's happening and know that it isn't right.
Paul also suggests that most Canadians believe that our government is doing its fair share to assist Ukrainians in the conflict. 40% of us said Canada is doing too little, and more than 80% wishes that there was more that we could do to support them. And that's good because at this point, nearly 4,000 Ukrainians will be approved for immigration already. Now, that's a drop in the bucket considering a million
number
went over the border in a week. 1 million displaced Ukrainians already in a week. And if we are to believe what we have seen, and there's no reason not to, the vast majority of that's women and children because I don't know too many guys who left. Like when you see Zelensky say, you guys, I'm staying here. And we hear about the husbands and fathers who kiss them goodbye and send them to the border, then they come back. And the number of women who stayed, I'm not saying it's just, but it's trying to get whoever went over the border and then the rest of their families with them.
And I've heard that at the border crossings, they're trying to move them along as quickly as they can, and they're prioritizing them. So it's the elderly, it's the women and children who they're processing first, and the men do have to wait, whether they're crossing over or going back. They do have to wait.
Very few Canadians feel that the Russia-Ukraine conflict, not very few, few of us do believe it's the beginning of another world war. 1 in 6 say we're seeing the start of World War III, 1 in 6. But 63% say if it does blow into something, which is called something, Canada will end up being involved.
I hope so.
2/3. And here we are.
And I say that because I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. It's also the right thing to say. Here we are so close to CFP Trenton. So you know and I know that they're not going to tell us whatever their orders are. Their state of readiness. No,
they're not going to share it with us. No, we know that.
Whether it's only humanitarian, whether it's military, whether
they've got other things to do than to keep us in the loop.
Right.
Absolutely.
And no doubt it's tight-lipped. We don't send out press releases to say that we're going to be shipping this amount of equipment over to here. That's, on a need-to-know basis.
Absolutely.
We don't need to know.
No.
We understand that. But 1/4 of Canadians said that we should send forces in now. 1 in 4 Canadians believe that now we should have sent something. 40% believe that we should steer clear of military intervention at all costs. So that's
in an
interesting
ideal
part.
world.
Yeah.
Of course.
So 1 in 4 say we should be there now. 40% say, I don't care if it turns into a world war, we shouldn't go. So it's amazing how polarizing all of that is.
You don't want that to happen, of course. You don't.
Yeah.
Under any circumstances.
But nobody
wants this to be going on.
Here's the nice thing.
Maybe one person.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. A majority surveyed 67%, and I like this, and this is the way I hope it works out. And I think this is the way the world hope has worked out. Says that we believe that if the current sanctions placed on Russia by several nations would result in a Russian revolt against Putin, because that's what we want. We want Russia to rise up against its own and get rid of them, so we don't have to get involved. You guys, self-determination, right? You guys fix your country from within because you've said,
if you really don't
minute.
Want him doing this, if you really don't want the invasion of Ukraine,
it's up to you.
Then do it. This is your leader.
Yeah.
Quote unquote leader. So do something about it. And then learn from it and don't do it again.
Yeah. And, these oligarchs who get to handpick whoever the leader is, that process isn't working.
Well, and that's part of it too, right?
Yeah.
Until someone stands up to them. And I know people keep referring to Putin as a bully. And that's really what it comes down to. They've bullied their way into power, and they're bullying their way into the Ukraine. And
when you look at communism in an ideal world, again, you say in a perfect world, is an economic system. It does not, in its very nature, mean that you have to bully your own citizens. It's just worked out that way. It's possible to be communist and be a loving and giving government.
Sure.
So if that's the economic system you want and the political system you want, that's great. But you don't need authoritarianism. No. You don't need one person saying, if you disagree with me, I'm going to kill you and your family, and they're never going to find your bodies. You don't have to do that.
That's not the way the world is anymore.
We're not telling you have to be democratic. If you want to be communist, you go ahead. But that doesn't mean you got to be a jerk about it, and ruin your own country. So, you're right. If Russia can solve it on their own, that'd be great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was the point I was making earlier this week too, is it's not just Ukrainians that we're seeing suffering. Russia is too.
Yeah.
And it will trickle down and the rest of the world will feel it in some way. But I don't know how these leaders believe that their country can continue on with these sanctions in. How are these people going to rebound? How is this country going to rebound when the dust does settle?
Yeah.
How are they going to move on? Because again, we mentioned this morning, more sanctions came in. More companies are pulling out. Now it's the car companies, and you name them, they're out, both in exports and with production. They're not doing it. They're pulling out of Russia.
They're done.
So where's it going to go? How far are they going to let that go with sanctions?
Locally, Giselle Zabardi is a Belleville woman and one of many Canadian residents. She feels like she's got to do her part. So she set up a community page for the Canadian Red Cross donations, hoping to raise $1,000. But she's also looking to use that money toward things like food, essential household items, baby items, and shelter as well. So she said, if you would donate to her page. So we've got that story up at inquinty.ca. And as we mentioned, if you want to make a donation, either one time or if you'd like to make a monthly donation, so that if you say, you know what, I can't give a lot, but I could give $25 this month, and you say, I want to do it for 4 months, great, you can do it that way. You can call the Ukraine Humanitarian Crisis Appeal or call 1-800-418-1111. And that's not the first time that she's done this. She's done some organizing for fundraising events to support animals and citizens of the wildfires in Australia. So she's got this fundraising down pat. So thank you very much, Giselle, for all your efforts on that locally. Links and stories on a great story that Brock wrote on inquinty.ca. So that's what's going on so far today with Russia and the Ukraine. We also talked about this morning science, and they want to make your morning better. And the story I keep reading is that you need 30 seconds of a cold shower every morning. And so the first one I read said you open up with it. You open with 30 seconds, and then you use the warm water to come back to life. And the other one said, have your warm shower, but then wrap it up with 30 seconds of cold. Because the whole idea is that your body throws out all of this adrenaline to keep your body warm, and that's what gives you all this energy and these endorphins, and
It
helps
increases
fight
your
the
immune
disease.
system. Yeah. Virus and germs out there, keeps you healthy.
Keeps you healthy 30
I don't
seconds.
know.
I don't know. The closest I came was looking at the cold water tap going, maybe, but I don't think so. Maybe I'll try it on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Oh, good for
So
you.
that if it's really bad, then it can just be horrible at home for a while. But apparently it won't be horrible. The first few seconds will probably be, "Eesh," and
Wake
then
you
after
up.
that, it's supposed to be great. So that's one of 5 things science says you should do. You should have some cold water time in the shower to get your day kicked off. Another one, with it being light now between 6:30 and 6:45 in the morning, is as soon as you get up, like you're awake, get out of bed quickly, raise the blind, get back in bed for a couple seconds
Get
if you
some
want
natural
to.
light,
But get
though.
some
Yeah.
natural light, because the longer you stay in the dark, the longer it takes for your body to wake up.
They also say change the way you wake up, not necessarily with the light, but many of us use alarms, whether it be through our phone or with an extra alarm clock. And they say that can be actually quite harmful because it's jarring you out of what you could be having a very deep sleep, which is good for you. So they say if you can wake up naturally, and that does take time, it takes you time to get into a cycle and to get your body used to it. But they say if you can wake up naturally, gentler in the morning, that can also set the tone of your day. The other thing too was having dinner for breakfast, and I love this idea.
This is great.
Yes, and the point being cutting out a lot of sugar that we all have in the morning, because it gets you going first thing, but then you burn out. You can't sustain that energetic feeling. And I mean, cereals, you may think you're eating healthier than you are, but let's be honest here. There's sugar in cereal, there's sugar in milk, whether you have it with your cereal or in your coffee, it's just there. So they say maybe substitute the sugary for savory. So have maybe proteins such as meats and different cheeses and breads. You
Very
can still include
European.
very European. That's what they put out, like a charcuterie board. Have it for
Yeah.
breakfast, and that will help sustain
Yeah.
you until you can eat again around lunchtime.
And physically, yeah, so maybe you don't have time to do a workout in the morning, but they say take 30, 45 seconds and stretch.
Oh, yes.
Because you've been lying down for a long time. Get everything sort of working in your body, get the circulation going, get that cold shower.
Not
stretch.
necessarily a full workout,
No,
but just
just-
some movement, just
Yep,
some subtle movements
something
to get
going.
things going.
Little bit of stretching, and that's going to help. That's according to science, but it's backed by Mark and Charity Mornings, because we do none of
100%.
that. So far, we don't do any of it. My alarm clock jars me.
I like the dinner for
Still
breakfast,
dark.
though. I am going to do that. I like that.
We'll have warmed up pizza sometimes.
See, that's
dinner
savory
for
instead of
breakfast.
sugar, for
That's
sure.
great. And our one-hit wonders on Throwback Thursday today for Burger Revolution. Home of the Shogun Burger, the burger of the month, was Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba,
Ugh.
which won by an LS. It was a landslide
It
today.
really was.
Yeah.
It
So
really was.
Feel badly for Breakfast at
Don't.
Tiffany's. I feel badly for them.
I'm going to
No.
kick your butt next week.
Probably.
I feel confident.
Probably, because I think I know what your theme's going to be, and I think I know what your song's going to be. And I think I'm vastly unprepared for that.
You think so?
Yeah, I
Well,
think I am.
we'll find out.
But
We'll
I
find
know
out next
that
week.
eventually one of the themes that I've been hanging on to is power ballads. So I already have that song ready in my power
And is it a
ballad.
winner?
It's the one I want. It's the way you felt about Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to go down on the ship with this one. You know,
Oh.
if it's I'm taking this one to the bank with me. I feel
Okay.
good about it. Just playing the clip.
Good. Okay, well, maybe we'll do that in 2 weeks.
2 weeks on the March break. In the March break,
Sure.
power ballads.
You want to do power ballads in
I'm
the
all
March
for
break?
it. Oh
Okay,
my
we've
gosh.
said it. Now we're
I'm
going
all
to do
for
it.
Got to. I
Okay.
am all for it.
Before we wrap things up, though, I do want to mention today is National I Want You to Be Happy Day. And I
Yeah.
want you to be happy today, Mark, because it's your birthday. So
Yeah,
happy
thank you.
birthday to you.
Thank
Along
you. I
with Tone
appreciate it.
Loke,
Tone
it is
Loke.
also Mark Philman's birthday today.
Jessica Biel, Jennifer Warnes,
Yes.
and the guy from Married with Children.
I know, and I can't remember his
who played
name now.
Bud. I don't know. Like you asked me, like
I
I
know,
should know.
David Faustino.
That's it.
That's it, yes.
That's his name.
You didn't
That's
know his
birthday
name.
today. Miranda Richardson, who was in the cast of the Harry Potter movies late. I can't remember the role she played. I'll get a text from my daughter later. And Ed Marinaro, who was on Hill Street Blues. I remember it was
His birthday as well.
His birthday as well. But Jennifer Warnes, what a great singer-songwriter. Up Where We Belong, Time of My Life.
And you had forgotten that, because that was
redid-
one
Yeah, Bird on a Wire.
I had to test you this morning on.
Right Time of the Night, as that song just floated
That's
in my
right.
The right time. Yeah, Jennifer Warnes. If you're listening to this podcast, Jennifer, happy 75th today, you said?
75th.
75
yes.
today. So happy birthday to you. Get birthdays in if you know somebody celebrating tomorrow, which would be March the 4th. It's the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast out of Belleville, Ontario, Canada. You'll find it wherever you get your favorite podcasts and link to our social media sites. Stay warm, and we want you to be happy today. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.